Imagine a sound, just maybe 2 or 3 seconds long.
Yeah.
A few notes that you instantly know. You could be in a huge stadium or just driving around and it hits you. How does that happen? How does a tiny bit of music define rock and roll history?
That is the big question, isn't it? And that's what we're going to break down. We're looking at 12 of the most famous rock intros ever and figuring out the tricks, the tech, and sometimes the pure lucky accidents that made them legendary.
And the main lesson here, the thing we want you to really listen for, is that you don't need to be complicated to be a genius.
Not at all. Sometimes simplicity and just, a spark of real innovation is way more powerful.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The birth of just raw, almost violent sound.
I'd have to start in 1964 with the Kinks, and you really got me.
Yeah.
Ray and Dave Davies were just desperate to find a sound that was raw and aggressive, something dirty.
They wanted to shock people.
Exactly.
And this is where that amazing story comes from, right? To get that fuzzy, kind of broken sound, Dave Davies, he actually cut up his amp.
The legend says he took a razor blade and just slashed to the speaker cone. He was literally destroying his own gear to invent something new.
Wow.
Whether it was a razor or a knitting needle, who knows for sure. But the result was a blown speaker that gave him this incredible distortion.
So the sound itself was revolutionary. But what about the actual notes?
That's the amazing part. It's just 2 chords.
2.
Yep, just 2 chords, played in a really fast rhythmic pattern. That simple idea, with that raw sound, basically set the stage for punk rock and heavy metal.
So the innovation wasn't in the music, it was in the texture, in the noise.
Totally. It was making noise sound incredibly cool.
Speaking of that raw energy, let's jump to the Rolling Stones, and I can't get no satisfaction. This one is all about a new piece of technology.
Right, the effects pedal. Keith Richards used a Gibson Maestro fuzz tone pedal for that gritty intro.
But the craziest part of that story is that he never even meant for it to be on the final record.
No, it was just a placeholder. He actually imagined a big, loud horn section playing that riff instead of his guitar.
A horn section. I'm so glad they couldn't afford one that day. So for anyone who doesn't know, what is a fuzz tone pedal? What does it do?
Think of it like electronic distortion in a box. Before that, you had to do what the Kinks did, break your amp.
Right.
The fuzz tone was designed to create that broken, chaotic sound on purpose. It clips the guitar signal until it's just this thick, gritty roar.
And that riff is just 3 simple notes.
3 notes repeating over and over. It's so simple and effective that it's often the very first thing a new guitar player learns.
From simple and gritty to something else. Let's talk about Jimi Hendrix and Purple Haze.
Hendrix wasn't just about being loud. He was about making the guitar sound like it was from another planet.
And he does it right at the start with this really tense, weird-sounding musical interval. It's called a tritone.
Yeah, historically they called it the devil's interval because it sounds so unstable, puts your ear on edge. It feels like something is wrong.
And he made that feeling even more intense with technology.
He did. He used an Octavia pedal. In simple terms, it takes the note you're playing and adds the same note 1 octave higher.
So it's like 2 guitars are playing at once.
Kind of, but it creates this strange, almost chaotic harmony. It's a really futuristic sound, especially for 1967. It was a signal that the rules had totally changed. This was experimental.
Okay, that heavy experimental sound leads us right to Led Zeppelin and Whole Lotta Love.
Right. This is what many people call the definitive hard rock riff. Jimmy Page took old blues ideas but played them with heavy distortion.
It's that descending pattern, right? It relies on that low E string. You can feel it in your chest.
You really can. But the real genius of that riff isn't just the notes. It's the space between the notes.
The silence, why is that so important?
Because it creates rhythmic tension. He stops the sound dead after each chord. So instead of a wall of noise, it feels like a series of huge, heavy punches. It forces you to feel the rhythm.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so that covers the raw sound revolution. Now let's talk about how really simple notes can become these massive anthems.
And you can't talk about simple anthemic hooks without Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water.
It's just 4 notes. But it sounds so huge.
It does, and the reason it sounds so thick and heavy is because of something called perfect fourths.
Okay, what does perfect fourths mean in plain English?
It just means he's playing 2 notes that are 4 notes apart in the scale. When you do that, it creates a very stable, powerful, blocky sound. It's the opposite of that nervous-sounding Hendrix tritone.
And of course, the story behind it is amazing.
Incredible. The song was inspired by a real fire at a concert in Switzerland. They're watching from their hotel and literally saw smoke over the water of Lake Geneva.
So it's simple, it's powerful, and it has this epic, true story behind it. No wonder it's the riff everyone learns to play.
Next up, a masterclass in using silence for impact. AC/DC's Back in Black.
This is like Whole Lotta Love, again, with the power of the silence between chords.
For sure. Angus Young plays a really simple 3-chord sequence. But the big difference here is the tone is very clean and dry.
Right. It's not fuzzy like the Stows or super thick like Deep Purple. So if it's just clean chords, why does it sound so incredibly heavy?
It's all about the precision and the volume. Because the tone is so clear, you hear the sharp impact of every single chord. It doesn't get muddy.
And that straightforward, powerful sound was intentional, right?
It was. The song was a tribute to their former singer, Bon Scott. And that direct, strong structure kind of embodies that feeling of resilience.
Okay, moving into 80s arena rock, we get to Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. This one is pure rhythm.
Absolutely. It's all about those sharp, rhythmic pulses from the guitar that match the drum beat perfectly. It's just relentless. The melody is almost secondary to that driving rhythm.
And that pulse is what makes it feel so motivational, so determined.
It totally is. It mimics physical effort like running or training. And because it was in the movie Rocky III, it's now just, the official soundtrack for getting pumped up for anything.
The keyboard in the back gives it that polished 80s arena sound.
It's designed for one thing, getting your adrenaline going.
Okay, we've done raw noise and simple hooks. Let's move to our third section. The art of the build-up and pure technical skill.
Right. These are intros that are more like carefully constructed pieces of music. We'll start with the Stones again, but with a completely different vibe. Start me up.
The energy in this one is all about the tuning, isn't it? Keith Richards used something called open G tuning.
He did.
Can you explain what that is and why it makes it sound so full?
Sure. Most guitars are tuned to 6 different notes. In open G, you tune the strings, so if you strum them all without touching them, it already makes a perfect G chord.
Okay.
So it allowed Richards to use just one finger to slide up and down the neck and play these massive ringing power chords. It just sounds so much bigger than standard tuning.
And it took them a while to get that intro right, I heard.
Oh, yeah. They recorded dozens of times. There's even a reggae version somewhere. But this rock version with that full open G sound was just a perfect blast of energy.
Next, an intro that's all about 2 guitar gods working together. Derek and the Dominoes. Layla.
Yeah, this is Eric Clapton and Duane Allman playing a fast, complicated melody in perfect harmony.
2 of the best players ever playing the same thing at the same time at incredible speed.
And that's what creates that thick, singing, almost aggressive guitar tone.
So Layla just completely ignores the whole simple 3-note hook lesson. This is pure technical skill.
It is. It grabs you not with repetition, but with sheer drama and intensity. It's an immediate statement.
From intense collaboration to a complete accident, let's talk about Guns N' Roses and Sweet Child O' Mine.
That classic circular melody that everyone knows.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be a song. Slash was just warming up. It was a finger exercise he was doing.
No way. He thought it was a joke, right?
He did. He said it sounded like circus music. But the rest of the band heard it and knew immediately it was something special.
So why does this one need such precision picking, as they say?
Because the guitar tone is really smooth and warm, not super distorted. Distortion can hide little mistakes. But with a clean tone like that, you have to be incredibly precise for every single note to ring out clearly. It's about control, not just raw power.
Okay, now for the masters of building tension. Metallica. Enter Sandman.
This intro is all about psychology. It's sound design.
It starts so quietly with that clean guitar melody. The echo makes it feel kind of distant and spooky.
Exactly, like something from a nightmare. Then a second, much heavier distorted guitar comes in. The threat gets bigger.
And the drums don't just kick in, they build slowly with that tom-tom beat.
Right. It's meant to sound like something dangerous stomping closer and closer to you. The whole intro is designed to build layers of tension.
So that when the full band finally hits that main riff.
It's a total physical shock. It's the perfect setup for that massive, heavy sound.
And finally, the ultimate build-up. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven.
This intro is practically a song in itself.
It starts so gently. It's acoustic guitar with a really complex finger-picking style.
Very delicate and skillful. And the melody is in a minor key for that whole opening section.
How does using a minor key create that mystical, almost ancient feeling?
Well, minor keys just naturally sound more sad or mysterious compared to major keys, which usually sound happy and bright. It gives the song gravity right from the start.
And then they had recorders.
Yeah, the recorders give it that historical, almost medieval feel. It's all about creating an atmosphere.
The tempo is so slow and steady, and it just builds and builds until it becomes this huge electric masterpiece.
It's the absolute blueprint for a progressive rock intro. Start small and massive.
So when you look at all 12 of these, it's amazing. A huge global hit can come from a simple mistake, a slashed speaker.
Or just a few simple notes, or using a new piece of technology in a way no one else had thought of. The greatest musicians know how to grab your attention in that first second.
And they prove that sometimes the beginning is the most important part of the entire song. So here's a thought for you to take away. If the Kings had to physically break their gear to invent a new sound, what's the next great sound innovation? What do you think hasn't been discovered yet?
Good luck with your studies.